Yeah.
Let's talk about all chat.
So, starting in patch 11.21, Riot is disabling all chat in all match-made queues. So that is anything from ARAM to solo queue to normals.
Yeah.
Right? It's any time you enter a queue to be matched against other players, you will no longer be able to talk to them. They find that a lot of toxicity exists in those in that chat, and they're electing to turn it off. I think there's not much else in the news department.
Yeah.
But we can, talk about our feelings on it.
Yeah. I guess like the only other thing to note is that the one take I found really interesting is I haven't heard a single person ever in my entire life of playing League of Legends be like, damn, I really wish all chat wasn't in the game.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean that has to like lead to this. Like, it's not like you need that to come up with this conclusion, but that's like my one thing. Cause I'm personally of the mindset of like, I don't really care. I don't think we need an all chat. I don't think there's a reason why we need to be able to talk to the enemy team. And honestly, there's probably only positives to come from removing all chat. But I do think it's funny that I haven't heard one person ever in my life until this week be like, hey, should we remove all chat from the game? Because
it definitely does feel like a random solution to a problem that exists, but no one would have considered this this particular method.
Yeah, and I think part of that is that there is a world in which all chat could be a good thing, but the fact is that it's bad probably 80% of the time.
Yeah.
Neutral 19% of the time, and good 1% of the time.
Yeah.
There have certainly been games in which, let's say, Aidan, you're dumpstering this Vayne on Tom Kench.
Yeah.
And then you were like, hey, in case you didn't notice, you can do X and Y. And maybe they're like, how the hell do I play against Tom Kench? And you're like, oh, that
or
can
they'll
happen.
ask, they'll ask and you'll give them an answer, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, hey, I see that you play a ton of Tom Kench. How do I play against that character?
Mm-hmm.
That being said, it just doesn't happen enough, and I think that's been a lot of the conversation about it always is how to shift that ratio to a better place and get rid of the toxicity, where as even if you could get it to good 10% of the time, neutral 25, and bad 65, sure, that's a huge improvement. But if you just delete it, you get rid of 99%, or if you get rid of 80% of the bad.
No, for sure. I mean, I would say most of the time it's used as a tool to either tell the enemy team that your teammates shit and they should be reported, or it's to just shit talk the enemy player for whatever play they made. That's what I mostly think about. Which being said, the reality is it starts off on new accounts. You have to turn it on if you want to use it. And it's also a system where you can literally just turn it off at any point or mute anyone at any point. That being said, if there's no positives added from it, I don't think there's really any harm in removing it. And also, end of game chat still will be there, which I think fills a lot of the positive aspects.
Yeah, I guess I'm okay with that. I think I am in the opinion that I think this is a bad change. I think we could all only speak about our very limited anecdotal experiences. But in the very vast majority of games that I've played, at least in ranked, where you would expect the most toxicity, I would say near 100% of the time, the only toxicity I've experienced has been on my own team.
Mm-hmm.
It's not been my enemies telling me holy shit, you're bad, or kill yourself or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's exclusively been my teammates that I'm playing with. So I think this is sort of hey, look at the change we're implementing, which doesn't actually do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because it was opt-in and it was so easy to turn off. Several people did turn it off. And the muting function exists if you want to leave it off, but you want to mute, one particular person.
The only positive I have that I can definitely tangibly see is the games where you have someone on the enemy team just taunting your team and your teammates just losing their minds responding to them. No, you're actually bad. You're actually just those games at least will be fixed, and that's the one tangible thing where I can go, thank God.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want to downplay the potential existence of toxicity on the other team. Like,
Yeah.
it absolutely does happen. I just personally haven't experienced it that much compared to the flame that you receive on your own team.
Yeah.
And I think like this feels very much like a Riot move where historically we have had a lot of things pushed to the back burner or not even discussed at all because of the like even just potential for abuse from a certain select few, individuals. It took us 10 years to get like lever LP reduction
Yeah.
for ranked games because people thought it could be abused, right? Like that just should have been standard with ranked, this feels very much like a like punish the few to like or punish the many to punish the few.
Yeah.
And it just like I don't know. This is just such a bad way to do it, versus other methods that actually crack down on toxicity in chat.
Yeah.
If there's so much of it that you need to turn off all chat, why aren't you taking other methods to prevent it from being used? Like permanently enable the profanity filter. Is that like such a bad thing? Like I would prefer to never be able to say or see the word fucking chat again versus like to not be able to talk to someone on the other enemy team. I don't think that's like core to playing League of Legends. But at some point, like you are playing a multiplayer game with 10 players, even though there's only 5 on your team. And I feel like to some core, part of it, taking away all chat is sort of like taking away a like portion of the humanity of the players on the other team. And it feels a lot like that really shitty April Fools where anything you say on all chat just gets converted to a bot message, and that's not fun or anything.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
I do.
In my opinion.
So Nick, I
you got
think,
it, Colton.
yeah. Well, so I think Nick brought up a lot of good points of like intermediary steps that could have been taken that I think I would have liked. So I mean, like, I think that part of it is like you can obviously make all chat a privilege and like gate it behind honor levels.
Yep.
You can also super punish any toxicity in all chat. And instead of an account ban, it's just you get like a chat restriction or an all chat restriction. It's like, hey, you talk shit in all chat once. You don't get all chat.
Yeah.
Like you had this, we gave it to you, you abused it, you don't get it anymore. Like if you want all chat, you have to earn it and have like pristine, summoner's code upholding. You can also, do things where it's like available in some game modes or others. You could, permanently enable the language filter in those modes. You can also have it, give you just a limited number of messages where it's like, hey, you get just, 10 all chat messages a game period.
Yeah.
Right. Like you can probably communicate anything you need to, but if you're trying to just talk shit, like you're obviously going to run out. There's a lot of ways you could go about it. One thing that I just thought of, which is a pretty niche case, but like it's going to be gone, I would imagine, then for custom lobbies too, which like
Probably,
if
yeah.
I was hosting
I don't think that counts
it's
as
not
a
a
match
match
made.
Yeah, it's not a match made.
It's only for match made
queue.
games.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I was gonna say that would really suck. Is if I like wanted to have like even like a tournament or like
it would.
even just an in-house like community nights game. Like I want to be able to call Pards a fucking exhaust on ARAM taking shitter.
Yeah.
And it's like I also wonder if they're gonna be weighting ally reports versus enemy reports differently. Because without all chat, you're not gonna get the 9 reports on a toxic asshole. You're gonna get 4.
Yeah.
Unless maybe in the post game, but
Yeah, I guess like my final thought is I do think if they said it's for testing, which who knows if that actually means, if it's like actually a finalized decision or not. I think like a lot of people think that this is 100% a finalized decision. I personally believe Riot when they say like it's actually for testing. I do think there's a world in which they do something like the honor restriction level, where like if you're honor 0 or 1, then you don't get team chat at all. If you're 1 or 2, if you're 2 or 3, you get all chat. either to like a limit. Sorry, you get team chat. And if you're honor 4 or 5, you get like all chat. And I feel like that's like not a bad solution. Only having people who are honor 4 or 5, or even just make it 5, having all chat, that would be a lovely experience, I think, personally.
Yeah, probably not bad. My only hesitancy, and I saw this, and I actually agreed with it on Reddit. It's so hard to measure the like positive effect of all chat versus like being able to measure the negative effect. So
Yeah.
if you say it's for measuring, like it's really easy to like you say it's for testing. It's really easy to go like, wow, we turned off all chat and reports went down, 15%. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
That's really good.
No.
And there's no way to really measure the positive interactions that
Yeah.
some people, may have.
Yeah, I just meant more the circle jerk of like Reddit is like very much Riot says this is being tested, but there's no way ever in a billion years that they haven't already decided this is how it's going to be. Where it's like I very much I think that if they come up with a better solution like the honor level thing, they will implement that. I very much have faith in that.
There's no reason to not believe them.
Yeah.
They certainly could have just one day turned it off. I mean, part of it is going to be always community backlash, where even if that was the decision, they might have it in air quotes testing. But like in reality, what that looks like, or at least how I would imagine it looks like, is that somebody is looking at the problem. They take a look at the data and they say, you know what, based on the data that I can see and everything we can measure, this would be better if all chat was just off. And then what do? They test that theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, in an ideal world, maybe they don't, but like they see if that's actually the case and then implement, what they think is the best. And sure, they can make mistakes. Maybe their values are different than ours. They almost certainly are. But when you have a game with millions upon millions upon millions of players, you're never going to make everyone happy.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. Awesome.
So yeah, could rip all chat maybe.